I'm going to call this my racing bucket list. At almost 55 years old, these are some things I've done that I want to do, and I'll mention at the end a few things I have done that I think is worth doing. And these are in no particular order. I want to do the NASCAR Hall of Fame and Race Shops tour. The shops around in the Charlotte area, being a junior fan, of course the Hendrick shop would be tops on the list. Dick Trickle Memorial Project once it's completed. I live in the southern Indiana, Louisville area. Got to watch Trickle race several times in the old ASA, the late great American Speed Association. And I've been following the progress on the Dick Trickle Memorial Project on Facebook, and I really want to go see it once it's completed. Granted, all this stuff I'm saying would take a month and a lot of money, and that's a lot of the problem right now. Another one that's not too expensive and not, from where I live, not too far out of, is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. Why I've never been there, I'll never know. I've been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on a couple of occasions. One tire test and the very first Brickyard race. I don't care for the track. I could easily drive up Sunday morning to the 500, but I have no desire to go. This is one I've been to, but I want to go back on a non-race weekend. The museum at Talladega. Now, yeah, I know from reading some stuff on Facebook and Jack HM guy, which stands for Home and Moody, about a lot of the cars in there actually being fake or reproductions, but I'd still like to go back when there's not all kinds of people. That's about 5 hours, so that's not too far-fetched to do for me. Another thing is on these NASCAR experiences when they're at the tracks, you can find them on YouTube, either drive or ride along. I'm only an hour from Kentucky Speedway. Have season tickets, who knows, maybe I get a discount. And another one I've never had a chance to go to is a race at Martinsville. I like to see preferably a cup race, but I would even settle for a late model stock car race. And of course, when you go to Martinsville, you've got to have the Martinsville hot dog. Next one, if it's still open, is the Darlington, the Joe Weatherly Museum at Darlington. I was there a couple of times when for the Labor Day race. I went to the museum a couple of times. Again, I don't even know if it's still open, to be honest with you. But I'd like to go down there. Involves going to the Carolinas. I need a month in the Carolinas, I think, to do all this stuff. And this is one that is I want to go to a figure eight race. Yes, I like figure eight. I've said it before. I even maintain a Facebook site called Figure Eight Cars Photos. But at either Flat Rock, Michigan or Toledo, Ohio, some of the great drivers I've watched in the 3-hour World Championship at Indy over the years have come out of the Flat Rock, Toledo area. Another one is kind of obvious. Again, going back to the Carolinas for the last two. The Richard Childress Racing Museum that he maintains down on his property. I'm a junior fan now. I was a big Dale Earnhardt fan. I refuse to call him senior. He did not use the term. I will not use it. I like to go to that museum, and I followed Harvick's progress when he drove for him, and just the history in that museum I think would be something. Another one is the Petty Museum, which I understand has been moved back to, don't quote me on this, one of the original race shops. I'd like to go to that. Now, that's just 10 things in no particular order. But some of the things I've done, you say, well, you didn't say Bristol Night Race. I've done 10 or 12 of them. I used to go on a charter tour out of Louisville. It's the only way to go to Bristol because of the bus parking and so forth. But I went to the first Brickyard. I've been to the Daytona 500. I've been to I'm going to call it the Firecracker 400 a couple of times. I went to Darlington the last 2 or 3 Labor Day weekend races they ran. Been there. I've been to Richmond one time. Don't particularly care for the track, to be honest with you. I think they should have left it alone. Just put a bunch of seats around the old half mile like Bristol did. It was a much better track. I never got to the old track, unfortunately. But I have very limited drove a race car on a short track. I was in partners with a guy back in the early 80s. We didn't have any money and we didn't know what we were doing, but had some fun. Got in one, just 10 years ago or so in practice because we didn't know the regular driver was at the brickyard when it was on Saturday. We didn't know if he'd get back, and I didn't even want to get in it for practice. All I was going to do was start the heat race and pull out from the tail, and then he'd take over a regular spot from the feature. But they called me and said, "We're back, but you go ahead and run the heat." I said, "No, get out here. I don't want to run the heat. I don't want to crawl in and out of the thing anymore." But it's just been kind of my bucket list. You got suggestions? Pop them in the comments. But these are mine. Granted, it's NASCAR heavy, but I am a NASCAR fan, so that's why. But the biggest problem is it's going to take money and time.